Hi, I'm Lizzie Harper, and along with doing botanical illustrations, occasionally I get to review art supplies. So these are always given to me by the manufacturers and they ask for an honest review. So today I'm going to be reviewing Lightwish by Madisi. Looking forward to it. I'm currently working on a series of illustrations of fruits from trees for a field guide. So that one's sweet chestnut. The Scots pine, these ones I've completed. That's the wych elm, that little beauty is the spindle, and that's a horse chestnut with conker, and that's another pine cone. But so one of these is the Guelder rose, so I'm going to be illustrating the Guelder rose today. I'll be trying these paints on a leaf, and then I will be completing the berries using the paints, but that bit I won't be filming. But anyway, yeah, so let's see how these paints work, shall we? Thanks for coming along with me today. So here's a watercolour box, and there we go. So Madisi 24 watercolours by Lightwish. So I'm going to start by taking the lid off. Gosh, they're big pans, aren't they? And look, on the inside here, it says Madisi Nano Watercolour, 24 colours. And I suppose you can paint here to give yourself the palette colours. It's exciting. It all comes covered in plastic, which, yeah, it doesn't really tick my boxes. But the colours look, well, they look really interesting. Right, I'm going to give this a go. Now, the price point for this is really quite low, so I'm not expecting particularly amazing stuff, but maybe I'm wrong. This is a whole set of brushes it comes with. They're going to be useful for washes and stuff, but already, don't know if you can see, let me zoom in, a little hooks on the tip. So for my botanical work, they're not going to be appropriate. But I think I'll use this one, which is a number 3. So we've got what, a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. I'm going to use a number 3 to test out those colours on the palette. Okay, so the first one is titanium white. Well, I don't know if you can really test titanium white, can you? There it is. It's got a bit of body colour as well, which is interesting. Next, lemon yellow. Okay, so I'm used to a lemon yellow. What does this one feel like when I apply it? That's a bright colour. Yep, I've seen worse. Yellow pale. I'm assuming that's cadmium yellow pale. The paint doesn't seem as, I thought it might be grainier than it is. It feels all right to me. I quite like the idea of having the palette in the lid of the paint box. This is, whoa, Garcinia. Garcinia. That's nice. These yellows are good. Yellows can sometimes be grainy. These ones are all right. So far, so good. Yellow ochre. This is the one where the paint itself is cracked in the pan, but that doesn't bother me particularly. It just means it dried out quick. Yep, that goes on all right. Right, I'm going to keep going with these, and then I'll get back to you in a few minutes. First thing I have to do is apologise about the brush. So this one, which I did these tests with, it actually holds it to point really quite well. So for big areas of wash, I may well be using it actually. What about the colours? Well, they're quite a nice selection. Yeah, they're nice bright colours. There's some which are quite odd. Portrait tone, which is a kind of flesh pink, I guess. Burnt sienna doesn't seem to have much kick to it. But other than that, they all look quite interesting. They're colours that I recognise, but by different names. What I can't see with this paint box, which is, it's like sweets in a sweet shop, isn't it? I can't see a, no, there's not. I can't see a palette to mix colours with. So literally it's a cardboard box with these 24 colours in. And that's a kind of flock covered plastic, which again, yeah, that's going to get trashed quite soon. The size of them, I don't understand why they're that big. They don't need to be, but it's very nice. I mean, isn't it pretty? But the proof of something like this is in the painting. So I'm going to use these colours along with my normal palette to paint the leaf of a Guelder rose. So I finished my watercolour of the Guelder Rose, Viburnum opulus, using these Lightwish Watercolours by Madisi Nano watercolours. Now, to start with, I was a bit confused because I was like, well, these massive watercolours, what am I going to do with them? I mean, look how big they are. They're massive. But actually, I ended up finding that they were really quite handy because you can take them out and just use them individually to mix up on a palette. So I'm used to having a built-in palette. So for me, that was a bit of a drawback. But once I realised you could take the pans out, that was good. So how did the paints work? Well, generally, I was really quite impressed. I think for the price point, which is really quite reasonable, you can see from these palettes, the colours are good and strong. And they weren't particularly grainy. They held up well and they mixed very nicely. They came clean out of the box and were very soft instantly. You didn't have to scrub to get them to work. And they mixed together very nicely and smoothly. There's only one drawback that I found, which was when I came to do the fourth layer. I'm zooming in now on this leaf. When I came to do the fourth layer of picking out details and stuff on the edge of the leaf, just here, so we are talking very small, that's my finger now, it became slightly fuzzy, slightly blotchy, slightly blurred, and where I had less of those layers, it was far less blurred, it was crisp. But I was surprised how well they did on the berries. I mean, the berries are, you know, it's quite a simple way of doing them. You literally just put in the mid-tones, go into the whites, and then pick out the darks. So on a scale like this, you can see that they're really quite, you know, quite messily executed, but when you zoom out they look better. But the colours held up okay, and that's quite interesting because reds can be really quite dodgy. So I was impressed by that. Yeah, so I mean, so in conclusion, what would I say about the light fast watercolours? They were good. That blurring does trouble me a little bit. So I would say that they are, you know, an advanced student level maybe rather than professional. The brushes were very good for mixing with, but they weren't precise enough for what I need. The fact that there wasn't a palette to me was a slight drawback, but I ended up getting around that. The size of these I thought was a drawback. In fact, it ended up being quite a lot of fun. And I think they're cool. They're quite fun. So yeah, as a really very affordable alternative to, you know, high quality, very expensive watercolours, I think these light fast ones aren't bad at all. You know, as long as you're, maybe if you're doing big clean washes and things like that, maybe then they'd be absolutely perfect. It's just for me, when it comes to layering and layering and layering on that leaf or wherever, which is the way I paint, that slight loss of crispness, which I know is the paints, not the paper, was a minor drawback. But overall, yeah, really impressed. And thank you very much to the company, Lightfast, for having sent me this set to try and review. I enjoyed testing them for you. If you'd be interested in seeing any more of my illustration work, please do visit www.lizzieharper.co.uk. I'm just flicking through some work on my desk now. And have a look at my blogs and my original illustrations, all these bits and pieces. They're all on the website, and along with images that are available for license reuse. But thank you very much for taking the time to watch this review and to watch this film. And I'll see you next time. Have a lovely day. Bye.